Okay, so I hope everybody can hear me because I always be having these problems with people not being able to hear me. I checked the sound, so it should be okay. It better be okay. So today we're gonna look at previous um, natal chart reading that I did for a particular celebrity. Um, I want to see who might be able to guess who I'm talking about based off of my reading, because afterwards I'm going to show y'all this new video that I just found on her, and then I'm going to show you what was said about her this morning in the news. So we're going to play this little game to see who can guess what celeb I'm talking about in this video that I did. Um, Let me bring it up. Let's see who can guess. So, this here so I can see the chat. Okay, I need to see the chat. So let's see if you can guess who I'm talking about. Oh, hold on. I don't want y'all to see a certain part. Somebody probably already done saw it, but I don't want y'all to see. Okay. Is a Libra ascendant. So this person, if it seems like I'm going faster, it's because I sped the video up. Because I tend to talk slower than a lot of people like to listen to, and I understand. So I just sped the video up. So just try to listen for the things that I'm saying and think about who this could be that I'm talking about. Is going to be very sociable. This person is going to be a fair-minded person. This is how they're going to come off to people. They're going to come off sociable to people, able to talk to people. This person could very well be a talker upon first meeting them. They may have a sense of style to them. Anytime that you see them, they may be in something nice. They may be carrying a purse. They may be carrying a wallet with them wherever they go. They're going to make sure that their presentation is nice most of the time, especially when they know they're going to be seen. This person can have an air of independence about them. They can come off as somebody who likes to see all sides of a situation before they come up with their own judgment. They may think what they want to think, but understand they're going to take in information from anywhere, from everywhere, before they make their final judgment call or determination or decision about something. This person can seem aloof when you meet them, like they're not there all the time when you're talking to them. They could be everywhere, actually. They could be trying to entertain more than one person at a time. And this person may like public view. They may like being in the public. They may like being around people on their day-to-day. And this particular person I'm talking about, she's in the public eye. You know, she's one of those people that a lot of people see. She's one of those people that come into other people's homes. This person could come to understand herself through interaction with other people. She could come to understand things she may like and dislike through interaction with other people, which I believe she did. Other people are impressionable upon her. Moving forward, this person has Scorpio in the second house. So when it comes to her value, she could either look for it through other people, or she may understand that the value that's placed upon her, or the value that she recognizes about herself, is imposed on her by others.
when it comes to her relationships, she may come to understand her worth by what others show her or what others tell her. She may not immediately identify with her values. It could be foggy in this area because she has Neptune here. So with Neptune being here, it's not going to make things clear enough for her. It's going to be obscured in some kind of way. So she may have different people valuing her in different ways. There's an emotional tie to her value as well because she has the moon here. So the way that she feels about herself is very important. It could be tied to the way others treat her. It could be tied to the types of relationships that she gets in. She may place more emphasis on her relationships in terms of defining her value, which is unfortunate because she could have people being deceptive about her value to them. She may not understand her value for what it really is because she may feel like if she's so valuable, why does this keep happening to her? Or if you value her, of course, if you value her, why would you make her upset? Or why would you... Unfortunately, this is a placement that may take a long time for her to heal. Neptune is in reverse here. Not reverse, retrograde here, which means that it takes longer for the person, for Neptune to be understood for why it's here and the purpose it's trying to serve. It may take years before she understands that her value should not come from others and it should not come from her relationships with people. It's going to need to come from within on her own. Then this particular person has Sagittarius in the 3rd house. So for this person, they may need to experience different places, different cultures. They may love to travel. They may have traveled at a young age. They may have come to experience or understand the way things are through their experiences with other people, other places, outside of their regular families and their regular communities. This may very well be a person who traveled through their growing up, or they may have had a situation where they were always going places as a young child. They didn't really stay in the area they were in. This can mean that the younger sibling had Sagittarius energy. So they may have felt like a younger sibling was very philosophical in their approach to things. And they may have tried to place that on her, or every chance they got, they tried to put some kind of wisdom on them every chance they got. Or it could have been this person who felt like they needed to be philosophical to their siblings, or they needed to put some wisdom on their siblings any chance that they got. They could have had siblings that came off religious-like or heavy into the church. The community around them may have felt like I don't want to say like a cult, but it could have felt like this is what we do, and this is the experience that we had, so this is what we know to continue doing. Why can't you do that? Or why are you not doing it this way? But Sagittarius understands that there is not a one-size-fits-all situation with many things. So they'll get their information from all kinds of different places before they come up with their own philosophy. Sagittarius is learned through experience. So you can't just teach them something. They may learn something from the parents, but then they're going to learn something from the community. They're going to learn something from the school. They're going to learn something from the state. They're going to learn something from these other religions. They're going to learn something from these other cultures. They're going to travel and see if what they're learning is actually what's going on. So that's how Sagittarius is. You might have had a sibling, or she might have had a sibling that was very blunt, or raw with their expression or their communication. Somebody, she might have siblings that they will tell you the truth. They're going to tell you it raw. They're not going to sugarcoat it. They're just going to tell you what it is. The community may have been a religious community, or there may have been religion around the environment that this celebrity grew up in. Where if you were not a part of their theorizing, or you were not a part of their culture, or you were not a part of what they understood as the way that you live life, what's right, what's justifiable, what's understood, and things like that. If you were not on board with that, you were treated differently, or you didn't belong. In the fourth house, this celebrity has Capricorn here. And we know that this is actually the house of Cancer. So there's already opposition going on here. There may have been an authoritative climate in the home where my way is the way that works, and this is the way you need to do things. It may have been organized and structured in a certain way. And that's just how it went, because that's how it worked, how well it worked. You may have had a father that was close to home, or this father, I'm not going to say that this father was passive. The father may have been emotionally in tune more so than the mother. The mother may have been absent, or the mother may have been emotionally what's a good way to put it? I don't want to say emotionally neglectful, but the mother may have had a more stern way of guiding and nurturing. There may have been punishment when the children were out of line. Whenever the children needed to be consoled or needed to receive a more sensitive approach, it may not have come from the mother. It may have come from the father. It could have. The mother may have been a worker. The mother may have been somebody who believed in, you don't work, you don't eat. Or if I'm taking care of the house, you don't disrespect me, you don't go against me for whatever reason, because I'm protecting you, I'm providing for you, I take care of you. It may have been like that. With Capricorn here, there may have been a coldness to the mother. The mother may have liked to be to herself. She might have been very practical in her approach to things. Like, she needs to make logical sense of things more so than in emotional sense. Intuitively, the mother would have been absent in a way. This celebrity has Aquarius in the fifth house. So you may very well be somebody who understands how to help others, wouldn't mind getting in there to help others, but you need to be able to do it in your own way. You're not going to follow society's way of helping. You may say things that to society seems like it's out of the ordinary, it's not traditional, not very conservative. And that's okay. Your way of helping people means that you think out of the box. You may have a way of entertaining people that seems crazy or weird. This is also the house of dating. So there will be nothing traditional about your dating approach. The type of men or women that you may decide to date will be unorthodox type of people. People who may have a God complex, or they may be smarter than the average person in a certain area. They may not have the look that others would think that you are the type of people that others would think that you would date. So y'all may come up as an odd couple. When it comes to dating, You may have a particular way of dating that is not like others. Your partner may have a different approach to dating that's not like others. When it comes to your siblings, you all may have an isolated type of rapport with each other where you're not around each other a whole lot. You're doing your own thing. It's more of, I talk to you when I talk to you when I talk to you. You can't always get in contact with me, and I can't always get in contact with you, but it is what it is. It's like I have to live my life, you live yours, and that's how it is. It's a situation where somebody's the oddball. Either you're the oddball from them, or they are different from you. Either way, someone is the oddball here with your siblings. Just a minute. All right, I'm back. So we was talking about this celebrity having Aquarius in the 5th house. So with this person having Aquarius in the 5th house as well, you got to understand Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and traditionally Saturn. So there's nothing easy about having an Aquarius placement, but once you realize that you have to stand out to fit in, it works. You'll understand how it works. This is the area where you stand out. And that's okay. You may be smarter than the average in this particular area, and that's okay. Because the way you think about something can make a whole lot of sense to you and no sense at all to anybody else. And that's okay. But moving on to the 6th house. This person has Pisces in the 6th house. Not only that, but this person has Saturn and Chiron here too. So what that tells me is there's karma in this house. With Saturn here, there is karma in this house. And unfortunately, Saturn is in retrograde, which means it's going to take you longer than the person with Saturn direct to fulfill your karma in this area. That means you can go your whole life dealing with karma in this area. It may not be until the end of your second onto your third Saturn return that you finally reap the rewards of Saturn. Because there is a lesson in this life that you are here to learn in Pisces. And Pisces is the area where your belief system lies, what you put your faith in, what you unconsciously express that either serves you or serves others. What you have in Pisces in the 6th house, it means that your daily routine is not the same. But with Saturn, there is a sense of organization and structure, or it's supposed to be anyway. When you, whenever something may not be going your way, when you get surprised by something, when something is revealed to you that goes against your Pisces, it means that you could escape. You could escape. It means that when you're not busy, you can escape. When you're surprised by something that you didn't see coming, you can escape. Your form of escapism could be anything. It could be drawing. It could be painting. It could be singing. It could be laughing. It could be going to a bar. It could be any of those things. But it could also be getting high, where you're going outside of your mind. That's a form of escaping, where you're leaving conscious reality and going into another. So it could be using drugs. That includes prescription drugs. It could be drinking. So those are other types of escapism. With Saturn here, that means that organization and structure is required in order for you to not want to escape or to not be free to escape whenever you want. You may need to be in a sense controlled, or you were controlled in this area, um, where you're having a carefree nature or carefree attitude in the of your life goes against you. Because when you carefree, it means that you want to escape. And that could help you or it can hurt you. If your indulgences are harmful to your body, you won't think to stop. Because in your mind, you're not dealing with reality. And that's where you want to be. So every chance you get to escape, you will. So without structure and organization in your day-to-day, you will tend to escape all the time. And that's good. That can be good and it can be bad. So you will need to be controlled in this department. And when I say controlled, it could be you finally understanding that when you escape, you do more harm than help. Or it could be you getting assistance from someone else that truly cares about your well-being and do not want to see you go down that path, that they will help control the situation. Okay, so we're going to go on to 7th house. In the 7th house, this celeb has Aries here. And with Aries in the 7th house, it means that when it comes to your relationship with others, you like to feel like you're in control. You want to be the one in control in the relationship. You think that your way is the best way. So when it comes to agreements and understandings, you want it to be done on your terms. Or you could come off innocent-like or baby-like in relationships where you need somebody to dote on you and talk about how good you are or how important you are and things like that. You can be a fighter with Aries here in the 7th house. You can be a fighter with your partners, or your partners can be abusive or violent towards you. They can be impulsive, or you can be impulsive here when it comes to relationships. Let's do it. While I think about it, let's do it. This particular placement, you need to act with discernment, because impulsiveness may not work for you. Like, it may not work out for you in your relationships. You need a partner who understands that you're impulsive, and they have a way of slowing that down. They have a way of making you think. Or it could be you. You could be the one who has a partner, an impulsive partner who just want to do and do and do and do. Don't like to be told no, want to do things when they want to do things. And you need to be the one who makes them think before they do things. So it can go either way. You could also end up in situations or agreements with people where they're in charge of you. They're in charge of you. So you're not able to do as you want or as you wish to do because they're in charge. When you have Aries in the 7th house, you need to be careful, because Aries can be, like I said, impulsive and reactive. Without thinking. In the 8th house, this celebrity has Taurus in the 8th house. Remember, I said this person had Scorpio in the 2nd house. So in this situation, the 2nd and 8th houses are reversed, because Scorpio rules the 8th house and Taurus rules the 2nd. But this is the opposite here. Your self-value is in the house of death and transformation, rebirth, resources after a meeting of the minds. You could have a partner that is very self-indulgent. You could have a partner that places high value in themselves. You have a possessive partner. You could have a partner that will study you for years and come to understand you for years, only to be able to manipulate y'all situation or y'all relationship to their benefit. Now, Taurus is this person has Jupiter in Taurus, so their husband is going to be like this. Their husband can be very self-indulgent. Their husband can take advantage of the resources from the marriage, whether it's his resources brought in or your resources brought in. It's the resources of the marriage or the resources of the relationship or the partnership. They're going to be very fixed on maintaining that reputation. But it's going to be of a selfish nature. They need to make sure that their resources are not hindered, whether it's you bringing in the money or them. They're going to make sure that their resources, they're going to continue to receive them. And that could put you in the hole. With Taurus here in the 8th house and then Scorpio in the 2nd house, like I said, it could mean that you come to understand your value through your relationships and your marriages, your partnerships, your agreements. You may feel like you're on top of the world after you get into a relationship where it seems like this person is doting on you and treating you like you're one of the most important people in the world, and the whole time they're making sure that they're good. They're eating good. They're living good. They got the nicest things. And whether it's on your expense or y'all expense, they're going to want to maintain this lifestyle. Your value is going to come second to their value. Your value as a person, your value as a source in this relationship is going to come second to their value. This is a situation where there's an insecurity with value, with self-value, and what you can offer. Fearing that you may not be enough. So you may have people telling you you are enough, just so they can take advantage of you. We're going to go on to the 9th house. In the 9th house, this person has Gemini here. With Gemini in the 9th house, oof. Not only are you taking in information, when it comes to exchanging information, it's something that can help you or hurt you. Because the ninth house is about philosophy. It's about travel, because this house originally belongs to Sagittarius. So you have another situation where two signs are in their opposite houses. You're going to come to understand the things that you should have understood or come to understand in your childhood. You're going to come to understand them in adulthood. You're going to take in all this information from the people around you, and you're going to come to an understanding from that information. But it opposes what you learned when you were younger and from the people closest to you. It's going to go against that. This particular celebrity has Venus and Mars in Gemini. But so you're going to receive and give love in the same manner. The same way. You may love to tell someone about how much you love them or how much you appreciate them or whatever. But at the same time, you're going to give them the love the same way. So you're going to give them things that is going to express how you feel about them. And you're not going to do the same thing the same way all the time. It's going to be different. You're dealing with different people. You're dealing with different minds. You're dealing with different personalities. And you're going to show them love and give them love in the manner that they understand, or the manner that you understand to do it. I feel like with Gemini, they take in so much information that they don't know how to be grounded in themselves. They learn so much from so many different people They may experience so much from so many different people that they don't know which way is up and which way is down when they're by themselves or when they're required to stand on their own in their own individuality. You have to be okay with how intellectually inclined you are, how you're able to innocently come across information but never use it. Because just because you gain information doesn't mean that you're going to use it in your lifetime, but you have to be able to discern when and what information you do need to use. Otherwise, people are going to be able to tell you whatever they need to tell you, and if it sounds logical and it makes sense, you may be inclined to go with it, even if it goes against your understanding or what you previously understood or what you previously known or who you previously known. With Gemini in the ninth house, you may travel to different places and you may come up on all this other information and you may learn all these people and you may love it. They may make you feel loved. But you have to be careful with your expression with people who are not close to you and don't really know you. You have to be careful with that. You have Cancer in the 10th house. So with Cancer being here in the 10th house, it means that the world is going to see your reputation as somebody who cares. You're going to come off to the world as somebody who cares, somebody who's there to nurture others, to be able to empathize with others. They're going to see you like this. They're going to see you as somebody who can maybe tell it like it is. You can tell it like it is. But when it comes to someone infringing on your family, they better tread lightly. They better tread lightly when it comes to that. Because Cancers are known to be protectors of their family, the same way Capricorn can be. This person has the sun in Cancer. So you're vibrant. People are going to see you shine with so much energy in the 10th house. The world is going to see you command a sense of respect when it comes to your ability to relate with others and understand others. And Cancer is the opposite of the 4th house. In this situation, this person also has 2 signs in opposing houses. So, like I said, the father may have been emotionally intuitive more so than the mother. The father may have showed more of a passive type of understanding, or the father may have had more of a passive teaching in the way that they guided you, where it wasn't a situation where the father was willing to beat the crap out of you, but willing to talk to you or hug you or show you some kind of comfort. He may have shown you, taught you the value, or may have tried to show you that you were valued through his connection with you. The mother may have tried to be a little more supportive outside the house, where she didn't want you to feel like she was not there for you, because she was. And she wanted to make sure that you were respected. She may have wanted to make sure that you were respected. What else can I say about the 10th house? 10th house is also where others um, come to appreciate what you have to offer. You may have come off as, or people may see you as a caregiver, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna go on to the 11th house. In the 11th house, this person has Leo here. With Leo here, in the 11th house, you're gonna come off in your network circles, in your friendships, in your organizations, in the groups that you hang out in. You're gonna come off as someone that deserves respect. You expect to be respected around your peers. You expect to be honored for what you contribute. Um, this person has Mercury here. So when people gloat on you, meaning that they say things that honor you, and when they make you feel appreciated, you feel good because you need people to make you feel appreciated for what you offer to society, and you know how people come to understand you that are around you. Um, there may be a sense of dominance to you, very assertive type of expression when it comes to humanity. um, your pride can be hurt by the things that people say to you or say about you in regards to those in your network circles and in your groups. This can also be your older siblings. This can be your older siblings. This can be the dynamic of the relationship of your older siblings, where there was always a challenge here. Somebody was always seeking to challenge you, or you felt like you were always challenged in this area, where somebody may have been looking to outshine you in your network circles or in your family. Um, you may have taken issue with the things that were said about you with the males in your family or in your circles. So you may have issues with males, uh, possibly being condescending or um, trying to come for your dignity. They may have tried to put you down. This person may feel that it's important for them to stand out in their network circles, to be seen as a leader, somebody who has that special that they can offer nobody else can. Moving on to Virgo. This person has Virgo in the 12th house. So with Virgo in the 12th house, you may feel like what you understand consciously is not understood by everybody else. Um, your form may be different. It may be not understood by others.
Can you be quiet? Because I'm recording. And I'm live, girl. She knew that. She knew that. She just,
when it comes to being
she knew that. She just allowed.
strategic or meticulous or detail oriented, it's not done consciously without help. You need help in this area. You could be sickly, but not allow that to have an effect on your day-to-day activities. People could not know that you are sickly. People could very well think that because you believe that you're okay, others may see or believe that something is wrong with you, but they may not act on it.
Oh my gosh. Like,
And if they
oh my
do,
gosh, I'm
it
trying
may
so
be more
hard.
of a you need to do as
Oh,
I
I'm
say,
trying so hard.
or we know what's best for you type of situation because you don't know.
Oh, I'm trying so hard.
That's what I see. You could suffer with Virgo here. You could very well be suffering from, um, or your body could be suffering from um, the things that you do during your escapism. Because with Virgo being in the 12th house, that means that Pisces is in the 6th house. And once again, this is a situation where you have two houses in their opposite signs or opposite signs in opposing houses. So you have the opposite going on here. What's really happening to you, you may not be aware of. And you may think you're absolutely fine. But the whole time you are hurting yourself. There could be, how can I say this? There could be deception here about escapism. Like you could come off like you don't really what you're doing is okay because you think that you're just enjoying yourself and having a good time, but you will never tell someone if you are having issues or having problems. This person has Pluto in Virgo. And what I know about Pluto in Virgo is Pluto in Virgo has an intense need to maintain secrets, the secrets of their formation. Like there could be things in this person's past that no one ever knows about. And they will protect that at all costs. They will not let that come out whatsoever. And any threat to that coming out is going to be a problem. That's what I know about Pluto and Virgo. This perfect life and this perfect persona and nothing's wrong with me. It's all good over here. Needs to be maintained at all costs. When there is a threat to that, there could be dire consequences behind it. Because you got to look at it as, okay, somebody is trying to go against what I don't want or what I want. If I want my security to be maintained in this area and somebody is trying to oppose that, well, now I got to look to my other house. And her other house is the house of escapism. To not have to deal with something that they don't want to deal with, they escape. I feel sorry for this person because I feel like this person may have had people around her entire life that seek to prey on her value in a selfish way because she struggles or struggled with her own value, her own insecurity about herself, her own fears, emotionally manipulative people who would seek to take advantage of her and take advantage of her success and take advantage of what she had to offer, all because of her own lack of awareness about her own self-value. I hope she gets the help that she really needs, and I hope she's able to heal because it's necessary in this lifetime for her to believe in herself, have faith, take a spiritual path that will enlighten her and give her the answers to the questions that she's been seeking, because she's not going to get the answer to those questions from anybody else. She's got to go within first to heal and come to an understanding about her own value, the value within her, and don't allow herself to get into any impulsive situations or allowing anybody to control her assets or what she brings to the table. Unless there is a clear understanding about what it is she wants and what it is she doesn't want, without if and buts. She needs to understand that emotionally she's tied to others, but she has to be able to separate her emotions from others. Because if somebody is making her feel a certain type of way and she realizes that it doesn't feel good, she does not need to be afraid to voice it. And if nothing changes, to leave the situation.
Yep. So I'm not going to play the last part because it's going to tell you who it is. But if you haven't guessed it by now, I am referring to Wendy Williams. Okay. Let me share this screen with y'all. Okay.
Thanks so much for staying with us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. We do want to continue on with more of today's top stories. I want to show you this live look that we have there in Midtown Manhattan there in New York. We're going to be talking about Wendy Williams. I'm sure you know her, the popular talk show host, is continuing her fight against the conservatorship she's been placed in. The 60-year-old did appear a bit earlier today on Good Day New York after she was removed from her assisted living facility and taken to the hospital the day prior. She is now talking out and speaking out on that segment from the hospital, saying that she received mental competency tests, saying that she is not cognitively impaired. Let's check in with our partners there at Fox 5.
So in case people didn't know, which I'm sure a lot of people know by now, Wendy Williams was in a mental facility that her guardian had her placed in because they were she was on she had dementia and she was on cognitive decline and stuff like that, where she couldn't function individually, so she had to be monitored and stuff like that. So now that situation may change for her.
In New York to get a bit more insight as to how that happened there a bit earlier.
NYPD escorting Wendy Williams out of the Coterie Memory Care Facility, Hudson Yards, on Monday after the talk show host was spotted pressed up against the fifth floor window, begging for someone to help her, even reportedly tossing out handwritten notes into the street. Hours later at Lenox Hill Hospital, Williams reportedly scoring a small win that could end her court-ordered guardianship.
I mean, I just want to say this. Why would she? Because I feel like a person really has to be in distress if they're attempting to put a paper out of a window in a building. Because obviously they must be in a situation where they can't get out of the building. So they're trying to get seen or attention for whatever reason. And the question is why? If she was in an assisted living facility where she was being taken care of appropriately, why would she be in so much distress that she'd be trying to get a note out her window to somebody? It's the fact that the note said help Wendy. If she's in an assisted living facility and she's sending a note out of her window that says help, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Something been wrong. I've been do that. Something was wrong here. But I don't trust that she's there because of the reason they said that she's there.
Wendy took a psychological test. It's called a capacity test, where they give you 10 questions. A psychiatrist gives you 10 questions to see if you're oriented, if you have mental capacity. Wendy scored a 10 out of 10, the highest score. The psychiatrist said she has full capacity.
Okay, so this is an independent psychiatrist. So I think this was done by Wendy because whatever service she was receiving from the provider they had her seeing, she was not agreeing with. There is something wrong there. And I think that is the reason why it may have been such a distressful situation, because she's completely under that facility's control so long as she's there. And apparently whatever is happening there with her, she's not in agreement with. So she's trying to get out of this situation. These people are supposed to be taking care of her. If she's being taken care of, why is she in distress and asking for help? These are my questions. And then she gets out, they take her by ambulance to a hospital, and she's able to get evaluated by an independent psychiatrist, somebody outside of the care of this facility, outside of, this facility's support services. So she's independent of them, and she's saying that there's nothing wrong with Wendy. I don't think what they are saying is wrong with her is what's wrong with her. I do not think that. That's crazy.
And that's a big deal because it flies in the face of what the Guardian has said.
That Guardian controls Williams' money, what she does, and even where she lives. Last year, the 60-year-old was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. It's a degenerative condition, and it impacts the ability to speak, write, and understand things. Her behavior went from this, in a Lifetime docuseries, to now apparently alert and coherent. TMZ's Harvey Levin has some ideas.
Alcohol. Wendy, if you look at the Lifetime documentary, there was a vodka bottle in a lot of the shots, and Wendy was drunk. And she has struggled with that, but she's sober now. And if somebody is an alcoholic, but they regain their sobriety, I can't think of a single case where that justifies a guardianship.
Me either. I agree with that. Okay, if the alcohol contributed to whatever was going on with her mentally that was making her ill, and they got her into a facility that she was not able to have control over her own going and coming and what she can take in and, what she can eat and stuff like that. They're in control of that. So they got her in this facility all this time. She's going to sober up. She don't have access to alcohol and the things she would use to escape. She don't have access to that. Why wouldn't she sober? Why wouldn't her sobriety get her to a place where she can function and understand what her reality is, why wouldn't that happen? She gonna be able to see things clearly because she can't escape anymore in this facility. So if like I said, if the alcohol was contributing, she no longer has access to it once they put her in this facility. The only thing she will be doing is sobering up. That only makes sense. So why, if she's sobering up, things are becoming clear, would everything else not fall in line? That only makes sense. I don't think anything's wrong with Wendy, and I don't think she needs to be in that facility either.
Williams reportedly has been calling friends like Levin and recently has been doing audio-only interviews and appearances. She's hoping to have lawyer Joe Tacopina help her get her freedom. TMZ is now also reporting the NYPD is investigating the guardianship that Williams has been calling suffocating.
They called me and they wanted to find out what her capacity was. I don't know if the NYPD is going to do anything. That remains to be seen.
Our thanks to our partners there at Fox 5 in New York for giving us the very latest and some history of some of the issues surrounding talk show host Wendy Williams. But again, she may be a step closer to freedom after that psychiatrist examined her on Monday. And Wendy says she passed that test with, quote, flying colors. To talk just a bit more about conservatorships in general, I want to bring into the conversation Jeremy Rosenthal.
I just don't understand how somebody is just controlling another grown person this way. These people just, I can't believe this. There's more to this than them just wanting her to be under care. No, it's more to that. Because being in an assisted living facility requires other people to take care of you. Those other people are being paid by people to do this. So there's a whole control thing going on here, where she's not able to control who takes care of her and who doesn't at all. Why do they need this much control over this woman instead of her family, if that's where she wants to be? Now, I'm not saying that's where she wants to be, but if it's somewhere other than this facility that she may want to be, why can't she be there and have who she wants to take care of her take care of her? I don't understand why they're trying to have so much control, and so much so that they blocking her money, blocking her from spending any of her money. Somebody got to pay for everything for her. She can't have access to her own money. They don't want this to happen because then Wendy, because she already got seen by one psychiatrist. This psychiatrist outside of this facility, this independent psychiatrist, says nothing's wrong with her. And I think that they're going to try to throw adversity all over that. They're going to try to oppose that so that they can maintain control over this woman. So my question is, why do they need to try to maintain control over Wendy Williams' situation like this? Like they own her. This is like a ownership type of thing. They are acting like they own her. That's what this feels like to me. Somebody's acting like they own her. And I guess because they're the ones that are holding her money, keeping her from getting her money, that's why they feel that way. That would mean that there are other people involved in this. Other people are involved in this, keeping her, trying to keep her there. I feel like they're going to try to bring adversity to this some kind of way.
legal analyst. Thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. This story has captured the internet's attention because, of course, so many people woke up every day, listened into Wendy Williams for her talk show that she had for several years on television. And it seems like in the last few years, she's been facing some medical issues that have caused her to be placed in a conservatorship. First of all, can you talk about what a conservatorship is and what sort of led to that path for Wendy to be taken into that?
Let's talk about that, because I think that these are concepts that most people have heard. We hear of conservatorship, we hear of guardianships, and sometimes we don't exactly know what that means. These are legal proceedings that we take when we have usually maybe an elderly person, somebody with memory issues or cognitive issues that can no longer really manage their day-to-day affairs, and they may be vulnerable financially, physically, or something like that. So
this is like them saying, well, we know better than you how you need to receive care. When they give you a guardianship or a conservatorship, that's the people who have a hand in your pockets, meaning they have a way of manipulating and controlling your financial situation. That's a means of control. So they may feel like they know better than you or your family about the best way to get you care or get you what you need. They want you to do things their way. So they take the control completely out of your hands. That is what conservatorship and guardianship really is about. But how do these people get to say they know better than you or your family members about how your stuff should be taken care of? It's all about this. It always comes down to this and the secrets that they don't want you divulging and stuff like that. Okay? If they feel like, you might be somebody that talk, or you may be trying to talk, they will try to do things to keep you quiet.
So what parties in most states can do, and probably every state, what they can do is you can apply for some type of conservatorship or guardianship. And what that will do is that allows a judge to sort of, based on an investigation, sometimes that could be state funded, it could be a private investigation, essentially determine who needs to be making the financial decisions for somebody. And in the case of Wendy Williams, if it's determined to be severe enough, also the housing issues, and day-to-day issues. And a lot of times what happens, unfortunately, we see a lot of families that have fights over who loves grandma the most, or a lot of times, of course, there's money that is sort of the underpinnings here. And in this instance, what happened was in 2022, Wells Fargo, who was the financial institution that Wendy Williams was dealing with, had a lot of concern about some bizarre either spending behavior or some bizarre behavior from Miss Williams herself.
What? So I feel like Wells Fargo was overstepping their bounds. That's what I feel. Because in Wells Fargo, when a bank feels like there's too many transactions or transactions that may be of security concern or whatever, they will call the owner of the account. They will get in contact with the owner of the account. And if they get in touch with the owner of the account, they will ask questions to make sure that it's them and things like that. But why is the bank worried about how much money somebody is spending in their account when they are not concerned? the person who owns the account, if they're not concerned about the spending, or they can provide different elements of transactions that will validate that they know about them. I'm trying to figure out what's the problem. Wow. So Wells Fargo called somebody and said, I'm concerned about all of these charges. What? Dog, what the hell? Wells Fargo, you started this shit? I wonder why. Wells Fargo, do you have a hand? Does somebody have you in their grip where they can make changes for you or something? I mean, are you answering to somebody specifically concerned to Wendy? Because I feel like this went too far. But nonetheless, here we are with this crap. Because that's what it is. That's when they started. So something happened around this period of time that made them feel like they needed to change, have a hand in some kind of change with her situation. I'm not, and I mean, Wells Fargo is probably included in that, but I'm talking about the people who Wendy dealt with directly. I feel like they felt like it needed to be a change in her circumstance for some reason within that time frame. Something happened. Where they started tightening in on her situation, making it so that she doesn't have as much power over her own situation. That's what happened. They began to take away her power she had over her own situation. But why is that? Something up.
And they were concerned that family members might be taking advantage. So they alerted the authorities. And the next thing you know, we find ourselves in one of these legal proceedings where the judge is hearing about mental evaluations, medical evaluations, psychological evaluations. And yes, my understanding is that she's been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, which, again, I'm a lawyer, not a medical professional, but my understanding is that's not a condition that gets better over time. Or
what? If you're not a doctor, how about leave your opinions to yourself? Because you can influence people with just by you saying that, even though you said you're not a doctor. I mean, maybe don't speak on those types of things if you don't know for sure or you are not the expert. How about that? Because you lending your opinion out there about something can taint somebody else's opinion, period. And I'm the type of person, I listen to the way people frame their sentences, their phrases, their questions. I listen to how they frame them. Because if you think that the word you use is not as important as you using words, that's not true. No. That is not true. And people know how to talk to stir the narrative in whatever direction they want it to go in. And you can tell that by the words that they choose to use when they give a sentence. I can tell if they're trying to be, if they're leaning more to one side than the other. I can tell by how they say something. And the way this person is talking in reference to Wendy Williams, it's like, don't get your hopes up too high that she will be taken from the assisted living facility. He's leaning more towards that than her being gone with what he's saying. He doesn't want to lead anybody on that she may be getting out of the living facility. He's bringing doubt. That is what he's doing. He's bringing doubt to the situation with the way he's talking.
Or heals. So if that's what a judge is looking at, you would think a guardianship or conservatorship would be appropriate.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because another person that we have heard of the word conservatorship, I think we all remember the Free Britney movement and what happened there. She was under that conservatorship for several years after she had what she even called a psychotic break. And eventually she was able to be removed from it as well. And just sort of watching the video back of Wendy in her prime on the show, it seems hard to believe. And as she's now speaking out a little bit more, that this is maybe what's right for her. When we're talking about these conservatorships, is there a level that things are different in between? You said sometimes they control the money, sometimes the money and the housing. It's just interesting to see that she's been put away in this facility with what she says feels like a prison.
There's different types of guardianships. One, for instance, would be something that is temporary, right? Maybe in the case of Britney Spears, if it's mental illness, if it's some type of psychosis that can be treated, something that allows for the ward, as they are known, to essentially get better. In many instances, there are guardianships over minors or people who we know will obviously not always be minors and then will become adults and fully capable and fully functional. And then you have instances where you do have permanent injury or a permanent diagnosis. And for anybody that's watching, these are obviously Wendy Williams in her case is a severe outlier.
Hold on. But even if that's the case, where you may have been providing care for somebody, because you said that they have a permanent illness or a permanent situation to whatever they're dealing with, but if the person no longer wants your care, who are you to stop them from leaving? Why are you trying to stop them from leaving? If they do not want your care anymore, but instead they are willing to have their own, so they're trying to make it seem like Wendy Williams was so affected by her dementia that she could not be of sound reason and mind whenever she made decisions for herself. If that was the case then, that can't be the case now if she just got seen by a psychiatrist that said there's nothing wrong with her. So at least right now, for the moment, we know, based on this psychiatrist's assessment, that she's cognitive now. She's functioning the way she should be functioning now. So if she wants to make that decision, she can make it now. What's the problem with that? We know right now they're trying to make it seem like whatever she's suffering from, she can't get rid of. That's crap. That's crap. They don't know everything. I don't care how much of an expert they think they are. They don't know everything. But they are completely taking away her right as an individual to see to her own care. That's crazy to me that they have that much control. That they won't even allow this lady to choose who she wants to help take care of her. So even if she do have dementia, why she can't choose who takes care of her? Why does she have to be in y'all facility? I don't understand this. And I don't like the way this man's framing this narrative he got going on.
If you know of an elderly person that is particularly isolated, or you're concerned about their well-being, or if they're not able to take care of themselves, or sometimes you might see erratic spending habits, then it may be appropriate to sort of inquire as to their well-being. Because again, the law does provide for remedies for people in this situation to where others can sort of step in and manage. Again, a lot of times it's just
the law. So this would all be based on somebody else's assessment of a person, though. Where legally they're giving another person control over this person and their situation. But this would come from somebody else's assessment of a situation with someone. You have children out here that lie on their parents when they get a certain age. They will lie on their parents and make it seem like their parents are suffering from memory problems so that they can gain control of the parents' estate and assets. That is a thing that actually happens. So in situations like this, I absolutely think that you need to have outside sources. You need to have independent sources come in and do things. Independent sources that have no affiliation with anybody and get their assessment, because they don't have a dog in the fight, okay? They're getting paid to assess this person, not with the background all these other people may have regard with her. So they're whatever they are going to report, it's more than likely going to be accurate, more accurate. I think, in my opinion, it's going to be more substantial to the person if they have an independent source, somebody come in from the outside that has no affiliation with either party, with Wendy's side or with the business side. They don't have enough. They just that way, you know, whatever that independent source brings to the table, it's going to be isolated from either side's view and opinion, because they're coming in from the outside already. They don't know her. They don't know. They're there to do their job. But I just feel like this is so heavy-handed on one side of the equation. The people who are controlling her money it outweighs the power that Wendy has. And I'm trying to figure out why, especially right now, if they just said she's fine. And it is highly likely that she has sobered up so much that she sees so much clearly, and she's able to function better. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration. These courts are going to have a problem. I think these courts are going to have a problem But I don't see why they don't just let her go.
Sort of these breeding grounds for infighting amongst family members. And obviously nobody ever wants to see that. Wendy Williams, in this instance, her family kind of feels like she's been kept away. The guardian who has been appointed in this case is somebody who has, it seems, has kind of kept the family a little bit at arm's length. It's natural for the family to kind of want to struggle against that. And it's also natural for Wendy Williams herself, obviously, to disagree with what is happening to her and her treatment. That said, the filings in this case, the medical tests that the judge is looking at are sealed. We don't know what those do. We don't know the results of those tests, and we don't know necessarily what they say. So there's a lot of things that the judge and the inner circle are really balancing here. Of course, when we see this dramatic, situation where, she may be throwing a note from the window, and then she gets taken across town in an ambulance and has a test that's released publicly, it does put some pressure on the courts. And obviously, everybody wants to get this right. Nobody wants somebody who has regained capacity or who has been misdiagnosed. Nobody wants that person to be treated this way. So, I mean, we will potentially see some legal action. I don't know if we're going to see any changes here, though.
Wow. I believe we are going to see some changes. But I just think it's weird that he's framing his sentences this way. I can tell that he's leaning more to one side than the other, but he's not trying to give the opinion that she will be let go. But this right here is absolutely something to consider. Why in the hell are the powers that be over her so hell-bent on trying to keep control of her? So she done got seen by an outside person. Somebody outside of y'all care. Y'all been holding her there for I don't know how long and making it seem like you were treating her for this dementia, or you're maintaining control of her assets while she's there so that there won't be any problems. But she got seen by somebody else, and that person is saying the opposite of what you're saying. So now we have a problem. That's what happened. We have a problem now. They're not, I don't understand why they're against letting this woman go. Is there more to the story than what they got out here? I'm telling you. They're trying to maintain control of Wendy. They're trying to keep control of her for some reason. And I'm telling y'all, there's more to it.
That was what I was going to ask you, because again, Wendy said she really wants to rely on this independent, quote unquote, report that she just had after she was taken to the hospital to test her mental cognitive abilities on Monday of this week. Can she sort of submit that separately to the court? Does it require a specific filing? I know you briefly touched on that.
You absolutely can. The question is it going to carry much of any weight? And is it really comparable to some of the other testing that she has been exposed to in the past? Going through guardianship training, when you were learning to evaluate these types of situations, what you're taught to do is to ask layered questions. The test that she was given, my understanding is, what day of the week is it? Who's the president of the United States? Where do you live? What's your name? These types of questions. To really diagnose these types of situations, you need questions such as, what did you do yesterday? Talk me through what you ate for breakfast a few days ago. Talk me through, do some math issues.
So he's trying to say, go into more in-depth questions that will require her to use more of her memory than just the current or the very present. Okay, I get that, but why does she have to go through? So even if you ask her a question today, and then you call her on the phone and you ask her these questions tomorrow, and she tells you what's going on. I mean, it doesn't have to be, I don't think it has to be so in depth to tell whether or not Wendy can function. I don't think that whatever. They want to take you through all of these different tests to say whether or not they think you're good to go. That would require more time, prolong her staying there for whatever reason. I think that they should continue with this independent psychiatrist. How about they make suggestions, or they come up with suggestions, or they suggest to the independent psychiatrist to do more in-depth questions, and maybe if she wants to, she can do that, and she can assess whether or not Wendy knows what's going on. I think that it's more important that she continue to see the independent psychiatrist, because now we know there was a difference in opinion about her so-called dementia, whether or not she can function on her own. I don't know.
There's a famous test that tests for dementia, which is to have the patient draw a clock. Because people with these type of cognitive disabilities really struggle at those types of very basic things. So you can certainly submit this test to the judge, but again, I don't know that a test by a doctor like that is going to necessarily be able to counterbalance.
What does that mean by a doctor like that? So he's bringing attention to the doctor that did the test on Wendy with that statement. Why? What does that mean by a doctor like that? I'm just asking, what do you mean, sir, when you say by a doctor like that? What do you mean a doctor like that? As if her not being a psychiatrist is her not being... What are you trying to say? She's a psychiatrist. What do you mean a doctor like that? Is she not going to know the same things that you know? I mean, I'm confused. What the hell? Again, he's bringing argument to the situation. That's what I gather from this person who's doing this interview. He's bringing, he's bringing argument to the situation. I'm trying to figure out why, though. Why is he doing that?
Balance, probably some pretty thorough testing, which has been done in the past and may be done in the future. And look, even if these diagnoses of her are accurate, there's always exceptions to the rule. Maybe she is in a better mental state than she was before. And who knows why that could be the case. So the court's certainly going to want to measure twice and cut once, you would think, with regards to this. So I do think the court would consider a new evaluation.
Well, I'm glad this person is so y'all can't even talk. I'm glad that this person is so suggestive of what the court should do when it comes down to deciding whether Wendy can be gone from this facility. How interesting of him to suggest this. But then the question becomes, does she get seen by another independent psychiatrist Or does she now have to be seen by the people in their facility? I just don't trust this. And I think that with this new situation of her being seen by this independent psychiatrist has, you know, brought what am I trying to say? This new interest right here, where this independent psychiatrist has now gone against the people in this facility, saying that this diagnosed dementia is something that is permanent. Okay, this psychiatrist, her diagnosis goes against that. So because there is an argument essentially now of whether or not she still needs help, they should keep her out of the facility, because the facility would have the upper hand in this situation if they kept her in the facility while they were deciding whether or not she should be there. I don't think she should still be in the assisted living while they're deciding whether or not she should still be there, because they would have they could say, well, since you're still here, you're still required to take your medicine. What if Wendy doesn't agree to take it and they try to subject her to something? I wouldn't trust that. That's just me. I would not trust that. I would want to be isolated from the facility while they're deciding whether or not I still need to be there. If I was her, I wouldn't want to be there.
But I don't know that it's going to be everything. And we also have to remember, this is the same group of lawyers, the same judges who have been evaluating over and over Miss Williams for 3 years. So nothing is really going to be completely new to them.
And Jeremy, I have to ask you again, the public is very invested in the health and well-being of Wendy Williams. Of course, I mentioned the Free Britney movement that happened as well a few years ago. Does that have any impact? Does that sort of pressure require folks to start taking a much closer look? As you said, the courts, they don't want to get this wrong. They don't want to come out on the other side blamed for anything that maybe they could have done to make sure that Wendy was in the best hands.
Mm-hmm. This is like in a criminal case, we don't want to convict somebody wrongfully. If it takes going to court 50 times to get it right in Wendy Williams' case, it's worth it. So
What? Why is it worth it? Because that's money. That is money. That is money. That is money. But whose money is it? Whose money is it? I would sure like to know the answer to that question. What y'all think? Whose money is it? Who wanted to go to court 50 times to get that right? Like, why would you need to even go to court 50 times? What do you mean? She had that amount of tests where y'all kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? That's ridiculous. It shouldn't take that many times. I think that it should continue to be a situation where you have independent resources to validate or challenge a situation if it calls for it. It needs to be an independent resource. Somebody that don't have a stake on either side of the party. You on Wendy Williams' case, you got the business side and you got Wendy Williams' family. Neither one of them should have a stake in this resource, okay? And I think it would be good that way, because this independent resource wouldn't be able to get tainted by either side. They're coming in as somebody completely new to the situation. And as if it's a doctor, they know what they're looking for, just like a doctor who chose to work for a company or a government. They know what to look for, just like these psychiatrists know what to look for. I don't get it, because all it would take is for this independent doctor to just make the one decision to be in a controlled environment, and then he would be just like those doctors that are seeing Wendy. But he's neutral to the situation. He knows exactly what to look for, the same things as these doctors, but he may have a different approach to things, where he might not do things unnecessarily, or where variables wouldn't be a factor in his decision. So if the test need to continue, let the test continue for a reasonable amount of time, but keep it to where you have an independent source, and then you have the sources that are for the business, because they're in control of the situation right now.
I think any exposure that this situation has to daylight is certainly a healthy thing. Obviously, the courts and the judges and the doctors who have been treating her are the most familiar with her. So you would think that that the people sort of on the inside are going to have a little more information and knowledge than the rest of us would. But again, I don't think that this scrutiny hurts. I don't think it hurts in any way, shape, or form. And again, if it takes 50 times of going to court to get it right on somebody's liberty, it's worth it. Or
50 times to get it right. It shouldn't take that long. I don't care what nobody say. It should not take that long. No, it shouldn't take that long.
100 times or 200 times or whatever it takes. So this obviously is a very severe case, a very serious case. And nobody anywhere wants somebody to be misdiagnosed and have their life completely taken away from them.
And of course, we know Wendy is also advocating for herself at this point. You talked about how she's done several interviews, talked on the phone to TMZ's Harvey Levin, as well as done a full interview on The Breakfast Club as well. This press tour that she has is going to continue later on this week, having this from the New York Post. She's set to appear on The View after you see they're begging for help in this case. With all of the public, again, and as she's speaking out, will this help her? Will any of this be taken into account, watching and listening as Wendy advocates for herself in these very public interviews? Can that be used in court as well?
It can help her if she's able to hold herself out very well. It helps her if she's able to answer some complicated questions. It helps her if she's able to show layers of thinking and details that you would expect somebody who would be able to manage their own affairs. It could backfire very badly if she doesn't perform well, if she missteps, if she says something that is kind of like an off-key piano that everybody listening sort of painfully realizes, oh, maybe they're right about her. And look, one of the most difficult things for...
So, another alternative to what this man is saying, because I don't completely agree with him. Another alternative to this, where he's like, well, she's got to be able to answer things in detail. Talking about the way that somebody normal, I guess, would be able to answer those questions. She doesn't have to be in their facility to do this stuff. That's what and I think that is the important thing. where they can have an agreement where she could be away from the living facility while they're deciding and while they're making the decision. She could be somewhere away from them, but she could have someone coming to perform the test, or her go to that person to perform the test as regular as they need to. Or they can have somebody who's assessing her ability to do things or remember things. Sort of like when she had I think they're called associates. She said she had an associate. That person could be there and they could see how she performs and like report back with her what she sees, or they can have her recorded where they can see how she's on a daily basis and stuff like that. But why does she have to be at the facility? That would be my question. While all of this is going on, why does she have to be at the facility?
Somebody in her situation is to get people to believe her. It's always the alcoholic who's going to say, I don't have an alcohol problem. It's always going to be the person who, if we think that they're suffering psychosis or psychotic, well, of course they're going to say that they're fine. So we don't.
So again, my question is, why is it that this is happening to her because of everybody else's assessment of Wendy and not her own? Because he said, well, if we say that she's psychotic, of course she's going to say that she's not, or she's going to try to make you think that she's not. Maybe it's the other way around, too. Maybe there is nothing wrong with her. This is where I think that the independent doctors, the people who don't have a dog in the fight on either side, when they come in and they do assessments, they know everything that all the other people know as far as medical doctors and things like that. They just choose to work for themselves. Their opinions are different from their counterparts. That's it. But if that person, all I got to say is, if the person who is the subject of the assessment, if they feel like they like this way better than this way, and if the way they choose, if they're performing like they said, and things are going okay, I don't understand why the business has to have so much control over that. She can say, well, I want to be seen by the independent doctors. I don't want your doctors. But this should be her choice. Because if she's paying for this, if they're paying on her behalf as well, why can't she see the doctor she wants to see? Or why can't she be in the environment she wants to be in for her care? That's all I'm saying. I just got questions.
Know what level of credibility to give somebody that's self-reporting like that. But she could conceivably do herself a lot of favors if she performs well. She could also hurt herself very badly if she does not.
All right, legal analyst Jeremy Rosenthal here to help us break down the very latest as it pertains to this Wendy Williams case and in her conservatorship. Jeremy, before I let you go, any final thoughts of things that the audience should be looking out for in these next coming days?
This is a very bizarre thing, throwing a note out the window, wanting to be rescued, and then having this all done very publicly. This is a very bizarre thing. And not only that, when we talk about these types of conservatorships, when we talk about guardianships, again, these are really courts that are helping people, helping families really across this country that are trying to care for elderly people, that are trying to protect them from abuse.
What? Okay. They're trying to help families take care of their elderly people. But Wendy Williams' family don't want her in their facility. I mean, if y'all are helping the families take care of their elderly people, but the elderly people don't want to be there, and the family is not supporting y'all taking, having her or having the elderly person. I don't understand. Why don't y'all just let her go and let her be with her family? And I don't get it. She can't even be close to her family. And she's not close to her family right now. I don't really know that situation with the family though. All I know is it should be Wendy Williams' decision if she does need care, who she's receiving it or where she's receiving it. If she's smart enough to know how to ask for help on a piece of paper. She wrote it down. She know how to spell, at least. She know how to spell. She know how to write. She wrote it down on paper, and it came into her mind, or she knew in her mind that if she was to drop this paper outside the window, she would get somebody's attention. She knew that. That sounds like somebody who's able to make a plan. What's wrong with her mind? I'm trying to see what's wrong with her mind.
Use from isolation. And just it's important to remember that Wendy Williams is an outlier. It's good that it's shining light on the entirety of the system. That's always a positive. And the fact that her case has gotten so weird and so bizarre in a weird way is sort of a blessing like that. But yeah, we're going to see what happens. I wouldn't expect a lot to change. I really wouldn't, but you never know. Maybe this is a great day for her and a great thing to happen. We'll just have to stay tuned.
All right, Jeremy Rosenthal.
I think that they have a problem now. That's what I think. They have a problem now. And the justice system is really being looked at right now. Every move that they're making, they're being looked at by the public on this matter. Because she's having to reach out to these, she's having to do it's not even in like the light, or it's not the way that it should be. Because Wendy Williams was able to get these bookings with these places by the person who was working with her for the longest time, or she would get them herself, but there would be announcements and things like that. She has to sneak and do these interviews and stuff like that, or she was. But that's how she's had to get her message out. Not through the people that she worked for who are controlling her, it was through all these other measures. She's had to take different measures. I don't know, y'all. All I got to say is this might be a little battle, but the court's got a problem. They're going to have a problem with this case if they do this the wrong way. They're going to have a problem with the public. That's what I think. Because everybody's looking at this. This is interesting. That they're keeping her against her will in this facility. She don't want to be there. They're saying she has this dementia problem, which is a problem with her memory, and she's not able to function on her own. And she was able to get assistance through a distress signal by throwing a piece of paper out of a window that she wrote on it, "Help Wendy." She wrote, "Help me, Wendy." Like, that is somebody in distress. Okay, I don't care what nobody say. That's something drastic to me. I really feel like this was an attempt on Wendy's behalf to bring a change to her situation. Because clearly she don't like the situation she's in. And she's reaching out to all of these platforms and these people, getting through to the public the best way she can, because she's not in control of herself or her living. And these people are trying to keep control over that. And it's weird to me. Why? If she's okay to be out and be on her own, she thinks she is. But furthermore, she don't want to be in y'all facility, even if she do have to have care. And she said, yeah, I would rather go here and get the care from her or him or these people. Why can't she? Why does it have to be your situation with her?
Here to help us break down the very latest. We appreciate.
It's something else I wanted to show y'all before I get off of here. I had saw this and I was like, oh, I guess we can go ahead and watch this. What happened here? What happened here?
Prisoner in her own life, locked away in an assisted care facility in New York, stripped of her voice, her freedom, and maybe even her future. They've tried to silence her, not just with legal chains, but with poison slips into her food, her water, her air. Yet somehow, against all odds, she's pulled through, clinging to life and the explosive truth that she carries. Why? Because Wendy knows things. Things so dangerous, so damning, that the elite would rather see her dead than let her speak. Buckle up, because we're about to plunge into the shadows of Hollywood, the corridors of power, and a conspiracy that's fighting to bury her and the secret she holds 6 feet under. Before we dive in, join the TPV free speech community over on Soju. Soju is a digital...
So did y'all hear that? This is about the real reason why they're trying to keep control over Wendy. Okay? This is the real reason why. And there's more to it than this. But I told y'all it was more to the story. It was a reason why they was trying to keep the control over her. They're still trying to keep the control over her. This is a reason. This is a reason, apparent, allegedly.
Of Hollywood to the corridors of power and a conspiracy that's fighting to bury her and the secret she holds 6 feet under. Before we dive in, join the TPV free speech community over on Soju. Her social media, silent. Her voice, gone. Her empire, dismantled. Officially, she's in an assisted living facility in Manhattan, under a guardianship that's been shrouded in mystery since 2022. But here's where it gets wild. Earlier this week, a crumpled note fluttered down from a window in that facility, scrawled in shaky handwriting. Help, Wendy. A stranger stumbled across her note, scribbled in desperation, and dialed for help. Within hours, Wendy was rushed to a hospital, lights flashing, urgency cackling in the air. And she needed it bad, because according to her team, some shadowy figure tied to the elite had slipped into the chaos, hell-bent on finishing her off. Poison, they say. A quiet, ruthless move to silence her for good. The complicit media spun it as a health scare, but everybody close to Wendy knows the truth. And then, on Monday, a bombshell. A psychiatrist evaluated her and declared her mental capacity fully intact. So why is a sharp, capable woman being held like a prisoner? The answer, my friends, is dynamite. And it's got some very big names sweating bullets. Wendy Williams didn't just talk gossip, she knew things. For years, she dropped hints on her show, little breadcrumbs about the dark underbelly of the entertainment world. She'd smirk, lean into the camera, and say just enough to make you wonder. But insiders tell us that she wasn't guessing. She was sitting on a vault of evidence. Sworn depositions, audio recordings, names, dates, and details that could torch the careers of Hollywood's untouchables. And at the center of this...
So they're saying that she had access to a lot of information concerning the people in Hollywood, where she knew things about the situation surrounding P. Diddy. I just want y'all to think about how many other people done came out about these celebrities involved in this stuff, and think about how that's been handled. That's what I'm saying. Think about how that's been handled. You got some celebs trying to shut people up with lawsuits. You got some celebs that are just outright saying it's a lie. Until evidence comes out, or there's a potential for evidence to come out, then they switch up. Things start to get, not switch up, but things start to get more heated.
Storm, Sean Diddy Combs and his sprawling network of power players. People like Robert De Niro, who we'll get into in a minute. Wendy's team reached out to us with a stash of leaked files. And let me tell you, what's in there isn't just scandalous, it's downright chilling. Picture this. Early 2023, Wendy's still fighting to reclaim her life after her show was yanked out from under her because she was threatening the machine. She's got a whistleblower in her corner, a former Diddy insider who's seen the parties, the deals, the crimes. The guy hands her a deposition so raw, it could peel the paint off the walls. He's talking about elite gatherings, private islands, locked rooms, and kids. Yes, kids. Names you'd recognize from red carpets and Oscar speeches, all tangled up in something so vile, it will make your stomach turn. Wendy doesn't just sit on it, she starts planning. She's going to blow the lid off this thing, take it to the courts, the press, the people. But before she can, the trap snaps shut. Guardianship papers materialize out of nowhere. Her bank accounts freeze, her phone vanishes, and suddenly she's locked away. A mentally sound woman branded as unfit, all because she dared to threaten the machine.
When she put out those pictures of the dude pulling his pants down, and it looked like some gay act that was going on, he got on the phone. He said, let me tell you this. When I get back to New York City, if she's on the radio station, he's talking to a radio executive. He said, nobody that I deal with, nobody that I know is gonna do anything with y'all. No business at all. It ain't gonna be no artist, no nothing gonna come. He's telling people that at a radio station. When we got back to New York City, Wendy Williams was in Philly.
You see that? So all P. Diddy had to do was get somebody involved in a situation, and he can make somebody be quiet. That's what they're saying. He could silence someone that way. Well, he can mess up their career and mess up their opportunities by the people that he ran with.
He come from the very homosexual era of hip hop as well. There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such.
Now let's talk about the players. Diddy's the ringleader.
It's interesting that he did that to her, or he have had a hand in what happened with her. And then fast forward to now, look what he's accused of by a lot of people.
At least that's what those on the inside say. He's got the connections, the influence, the private jets that crisscross the globe. But he's far from alone. He's got half of Hollywood and DC with him. Enter Robert De Niro. Yeah, that De Niro. The guy who spent decades as Hollywood's golden boy, railing against Trump and preaching morality from his ivory tower. Which is interesting, considering that we have footage of him complaining about being interviewed by police in Paris, France, after he was linked to a prostitution ring that allegedly trafficked minors.
I hope y'all heard that. That the actor Robert De Niro was photographed coming from this place here overseas after it was found out that he was involved in a illegal sex ring involving minors.
No, it's not the French. Of course, I like the French, and I love Paris, and I love France. But the judicial system there, with the judges having so much power, and people complain to me about it, is deplorable. That this judge would have the power to do what he did in such a way is just unacceptable, and I'm furious about it. That was an awful experience and a totally unnecessary one. And I've heard, like, a lot of people told me that they were apologizing, they were embarrassed. I think the police were even embarrassed. It just shouldn't have happened. And the judge knew that I was there. I'd been there for months, and it just shouldn't have happened. And if I had known it was going to happen, I wouldn't have come back. I would have said arrange that this does not happen because.
So he's not taking accountability for anything if he is accountable for something. He's not taking accountability for anything in this press conference. He's putting all the heat on this judge. Some judge that was involved, talking about the judge should have known better. What? So I guess whatever's being alleged against him is not more important than whatever this judge did, which is concerning to me. If you were being accused of something like being in a minor, underage sex ring, and at this point, you're not the first celebrity accused of such a crime. This is starting to be a pattern with celebrities. I've heard so many names at this point. Now it's alleged to be Robert De Niro as well.
He knew, the judge knew that I sent him a letter saying I'll be there, and then made a big drama out of it and came and burst into my hotel room, 7 or 8 cops, which was totally, unacceptable. And maybe I should have called Amnesty International or something.
Can you believe the sheer audacity of this man? He's dripping with moral outrage, yet he's just been caught red-handed paying for services at a brothel. One that shockingly has underage children on its roster. Some things don't change.
I mean, he's so blatantly stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con, a artist, a mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks.
So are you talking about yourself? I mean, I kind of get the feeling that you talking about yourself here. I don't know.
He's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes. He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has.
So I believe he's talking about President Trump.
He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face.
Wendy's got him in her crosshairs, and she's not subtle about it. In one of the leaked tapes we've got, she calls him a flunky with a leash. Her words, not mine. A compromised pawn who traded his soul for a seat at the table. He has seen too much and done worse, and now he's paying the price. You see, in this game, nobody gets to the top without signing on the dotted line. It's a deal with the devil. And De Niro, he sold his soul a long time ago. Fame, power, influence. It all came at a cost, and that cost is steep. Wendy claims he's been locked into the Illuminati's humiliation rituals. Public displays of shame designed to keep him in line and to remind him who really holds the reins.
If I could tell you all of the scenes that I have seen where this right here was a thing, is ridiculous at this point with celebrities. Where you've had a man dressed as a woman in their shows or their series or whatever. That's Robert De Niro dressed as a woman. Dressed as a woman with Puff Daddy. Look at the scene.
What's up, snitches? It's indeed a pleasure to meet you. Oh, dear, as you know, a bitch gotta stay dipped. Indeed.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, girl, you the one that's high five. If you wasn't my man's mom, I'd tear that ass up. Thank you.
Fast forward to now. Is that scene just funny to people now? Fast forward to now, where we have P. Diddy in jail right now. He's in jail waiting trial for these certain type of crimes that now are linked to Robert De Niro, who's also in this skit dressed as a woman. I'm gonna keep going.
And here's the kicker. She's got proof. A grainy audio clip from that 2023 deposition where the insider says, and I quote, Bobby was there that night sipping champagne while the deal went down. What deal? We're still piecing it together, but the implications are nuclear. It's all coming right up after this important word from our sponsor. Today's sponsor is pillsforever.com. If you think Big Pharma have your best interests at heart, think again. So, why De Niro? Why not just another faceless suit? Because he's a symbol, a gatekeeper. The elite love their rituals, humiliation, loyalty tests, blood oaths. And De Niro's been paying his dues for years. You've seen him lose it on camera, foaming out of the mouth about politics. Ever wonder why? Wendy says it's terror eating him alive. A man who's in too deep to climb out. But he's not the top dog, just another cog in a machine that stretches from Hollywood to DC and beyond. The real puppet masters? They're the ones locking Wendy up. Terrified, she'll spill the whole twisted playbook. But here's where it gets...
Did you hear that? He's saying that they're the ones who keeping her under control. The puppets, they're the ones who keeping her under control. So maybe that's why they, she's in that facility and they trying to keep her there. Maybe.
It's personal. Back in 2017, Diddy guested on Wendy's show. It was supposed to be light promotional fluff, but things got tense, real tense. At one point, he leaned in, flashed that predator smile, and said something about her son, Kevin. Better keep him close, Wendy. Streets get dangerous. The audience laughed it off, but Wendy didn't. You could see it in her eyes. Pure primal fear. She knew it wasn't a joke, it was a warning.
As the mother of a now 16-year-old.
Who I met backstage,
He did?
He's a great young man.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody remembers this scene. Because she was clearly put off by what he said. And it's interesting that that's what he chose to say. That he met her son backstage. That to me is like almost like a warning or something, or a signal. That's a signal to me.
You represent a lot.
And now, with her son grown and her locked away, that moment feels like the first domino in this nightmare. Wendy's fighting back the only way she can, through proxies like us. Her team handed over enough to keep this story alive. Depositions, timelines, and even a list of names that she scribbled on a napkin before they took her pen away. George Clooney's already taken a hit. She outed his depravity in one tape, and the rumors are swirling. De Niro's next, but there's more coming. She's promised to name the architects, the ones who pulled the strings and signed the checks. And when those files hit the open air, when they're used as evidence in lawsuits, it's not just careers that'll burn, it's the whole damn system.
Yo, fam, I ain't got long, right? I'm from Jersey, grew up round the way, ran with Wendy Williams' crew back when she was still dropping bombs on TV. I was in deep seeing shit I wasn't supposed to. Now I'm on edge trying to keep my head down, because they watching you. They always watching. This ain't even about Wendy at first. It's about him. Bobby De Niro, the old head who been running the game forever. Big flicks, fake smiles, hobnobbing with a DC crew like he's some kind of guru. You seen him chilling with presidents, whispering to senators, pulling strings in DC, but he ain't the kingpin. Nah, he just a nasty little cog in a machine that stretched from Hollywood to the White House and way beyond. And he know he's stuck.
So this whistleblower is saying that Robert De Niro is tied to him and government officials, presidents. So I want you to think about this in terms of the media and the celebs, and how the narrative has been going surrounding their environments ever since P. Diddy got arrested. Look how many names have come out. These people all associated with Diddy. And now Robert De Niro, allegedly, is also associated with P. Diddy and these other celebs and government officials, presidents. Guess who else's name has come up surrounding minors, underage minors, and sex? President Obama, President Clinton, Hillary Clinton. She wasn't a president, but she was the first lady. Michelle Obama. These are all government officials whose names have come up in relationship, in situations with P. Diddy. And now Robert De Niro is also linked to government officials. Wow.
Dude be at Diddy's parties wilding out, acting like he bulletproof. You ever catch him on TV foaming at the mouth about politics, eyes bugging, spit flying? Wendy used to say, that ain't passion, fam. That's terror eating him alive. He in too deep to crawl out. Scared they gonna cut him loose, and he got good reason. Everybody know he into them girls. One's looking fresh out of grade school. Short skirts, berets, playing that French tart vibe. He be carousing with him at these secret spots, acting like he own the world. But it ain't all his way. Nah, you heard about them pics circulating, right? Like LeBron in that maid fit, they got him too. Full French maid drip, apron and all. Humiliation ritual, yo. Step out of line, they drop the pics and you...
So they're talking about humiliation ritual, where it's like something you have to do as being a part of their association, where they make you dress as a woman. As part of one of these rituals, they make you dress as a woman, or they put you in something that you would look like a woman in, represent a woman. It's saying that LeBron did it. There was a picture of LeBron, but there's also a picture of Robert De Niro. But we just saw a clip with him dressed as a woman with P. Diddy. So this is what the whistleblower is saying is part of the ritual, the humiliation ritual.
Toast. That's why he be spazzing on camera. He trying to flex, but he shook to his core. Let me put you on to this one night at Diddy's crib, though. This dude was rotten, fam. Big mansion party. Music banging, air thick with smoke. Everybody acting like they soulless. I was there with Wendy's squad keeping it low, but I clocked everything. Bobby strolled in, already buzzed, got 2 girls on his arm looking like they still in grade school. He loud, bragging about some power move he pulled in D.C. Later, they head to this back room. VIP locked off. I sneak close because I'm nosy, right? And I hear him on the phone begging, don't cut me off, I'll get you whatever. Product, girls, anything. Sounded like a man who know he disposable. Then Diddy roll in smirking, tossing a vial on the table. Red tinted, creepy as hell. Adrenochrome ain't cheap, fam, he say. You want in, you pay up.
So this is a conversation that the whistleblower said he was listening into on Robert De Niro and somebody else. Diddy, who walked in the room, then put something on the table, a vial of something on the table. And he tells, this is alleged until this comes out, but the whistleblower is saying on this tape that this is what he heard P. Diddy saying, that adrenochrome ain't cheap. All I gotta say is I've heard that word and P. Diddy's name multiple times together. Also, with these other celebs, I've also heard this word adrenochrome. And for somebody to hear P. Diddy say this, supposedly to Robert De Niro, after he puts a vial of something on the table, Where else have y'all heard adrenochrome? Who else mentioned that?
And this A-lister, he snatched it like a fiend, hands shaking. Girls still clinging to him. That's when I peeped it. Human trafficking vibes, yo. They moving more than just money through them parties. It's a pipeline, and he neck deep. Wendy knew it all, too. She been connecting dots. Hollywood, D.C., the elite, them twisted parties. She was about to blow it wide open. That's why they got her on lock, fam. Ain't no health problems. That's bullshit. They scared she gonna spill the whole playbook. And this A-lister, he just one link in the chain. But he in deep, yo. Deeper than deep. And me? I'm trying to stay breathing because I seen too much. They coming for me. I know it.
As Ali Carter warns us, we underestimate the depravity of the pedophile elite at our peril.
Y'all heard that? Ali Carter told you that too. That adrenochrome was something that these trafficking people were involved with selling to others involved. All these elites. Now we hear again on a story where we're talking about Wendy Williams, P. Diddy, and Robert De Niro. They're all celebrities. They would have all at some point, more than likely, been around each other at some point. So does what Wendy Williams know affect the people within her circles or the people around the circles that she ran in? Would it affect them? And how would it affect them? And would it be something that if they needed to keep secret, they wouldn't want anybody divulging? And how far would they go to keep their secret a secret? I'm just asking.
She pulls back the curtain on a world most refuse to see. A network of power and corruption so twisted, so insidious, that it thrives in plain sight, cloaked by disbelief and apathy.
I never thought that we would see the day where Diddy would get arrested. And I told you guys in that Maria Z interview in 2021 that no one tells on Diddy, P. Diddy. We're still not on the subject of the kids. All the adults are covering their asses. All the adults are, I left at a certain time, yet you knew children were there. You knew these parties were not okay. They weren't freak-offs. They were satanic ritual orgies.
Adrenochrome, child trafficking, and satanic rituals. These dark practices are happening right now, even as Wendy Williams remains confined, trapped in a state of medical captivity.
You don't understand what people do. Have you seen that picture of there's like a little baby on the floor? I'll post it. I will probably get blocked on here again if I put it on my story. But I know you guys have seen this picture. There's a picture of a baby. They got a picture of a bunch of kids tied to a wall. That's actually an auction. They're tied to a wall and they're hanging on the wall. That's another form of an auction. Some auctions are very pretty. Some you get to stand. Some you got to be naked. I've had some really weird auctions. Some you're tied to a wall like produce or like retail. And basically like you're picking a t-shirt or you're picking clothes. Buyers come through wherever you're at, wherever they put you, they have a taste. They walk into a room and they have basically like how you have, if you walk into a car lot and you're like, can I turn on the car? Can I sit in the car? Can I open the door? Can I sit in the seat? That's literally what's going on in an auction. For children, for 6-year-olds, for 7-year-olds.
Did y'all hear that? These people are buying children. They're purchasing children. They're purchasing what can be benefited from children. That's what's happening. Auctions where they put children up. They like put them up to be assessed, bidded on, and whoever wins the bid gets that child. That is what Ali is saying. They're selling children. Oh gosh.
The baby farms. This happens on baby farms too. You understand that, right? Where they're holding babies, newborn babies, fresh out of the hospital babies.
Wendy Williams had reached her breaking point. She tried to sound the alarm. She saw the storm brewing, the elites tightening their grip, protecting their inner circle, hoarding their riches, and hiding.
You know, when she said that part about the babies, when they have baby farms, there are baby farms out there where people could come and get a baby from a farm. Where do these babies come from? Does anybody ever think about the babies that are given up for adoption? Does anybody know where those babies go until they're adopted? I just have questions. Where do these babies come from?
Their darkest secrets behind impenetrable walls. But they want her to keep quiet. And when she refused to bend, they crushed her, took her voice, locked her away, tried to erase her existence entirely. Now the time has come to rise up, to bring Wendy Williams back where she belongs, to break the chains of silence, to expose the raw, unfiltered truth, and to set her free. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the elite, but we need your help. Subscribe to the channel on Rumble and join the People's Voice Locals community to join our amazing team.
I don't know. All I can say is that I wish Wendy Williams the best. I really hope that her situation gets better. I really feel like it will. It'll get better for her. But these children, this trafficking, this stuff is not over because it's tied to the situation going on with the elites in Hollywood. And that is what is going to be crumbling. That's going to be crumbling all the way down when the amount of people start going down for this stuff. And now we got another celeb that's tied to it. Ain't no telling how many more. But that's it, y'all. I'm about to go. I done been on here too long. Thank you for listening. If you did listen, if you liked the video, please like. If you subscribe, thank you. You guys have a good day. I'll be back.